Yo, just so you understand it, this is Coach Carvel Bailey's program with the spirit of Bob Hambry.
This is Blessed to Ball, helping athletes, and we represent. Study your craft, your mentality leads to excellence. It's all about your mindset. We'll never stop addressing this, so be positive and not a pessimist. Confidence took James Harden higher. If you really want it, it ain't gonna be easy. It's gonna be hard as carbon fiber, but we got you. From counseling to workshops, we do it. You'll go farther with a scholarship. We'll help you get recruited. Yo, anyone can dribble and shoot, but it's the ones who study basketball internally that make it to Duke University. Knowledge goes around. The game is played from the neck up and not from the shoulders down. This is Blessed to Ball, helping you with obstacles. The athletes are the rocket. Blessed to Ball is the rocket fuel. If you hit a wall, we can help you slowly climb it. So keep a Mamba mentality like Kobe Bryant.
Blessed to Ball.
Cherish the opportunities that you have.
Blessed to Ball.
Use your mentality to master the craft.
Blessed to Ball.
Come join our team, it's a new day. Follow our steps and watch how much better you play.
Blessed to Ball.
Cherish the opportunities that you have.
Blessed to Ball.
Use your mentality to master the craft.
Blessed to Ball.
Come join our team, it's a new day. Follow our steps and watch how much better you play. Yo, Coach Carvel Bailey. Hey, listen to your coach, man. He ain't no scrub off the street. That man got credentials, academic and street. Believe it, and my name is Strategic.
Good afternoon. How you doing? This is Coach Carvel Bailey, and I want to welcome you to the show today. This is Lunch and Learn, and today the show is being sponsored by Bailey's Boutique. The show is being sponsored by Bailey's Boutique today. This is my daughter's brand where she sells accessories, right, for young ladies and women. So Bailey's Boutique, go check her out on Instagram, Bailey's Boutique, giving a shout out to my baby today. All right. So y'all like and share this broadcast, right? Like and share this broadcast. We got my IG over here. We got my Facebook, YouTube over here, and we got podcast land everywhere. So what we're doing today, not gonna be before you that long because it's Lunch and Learn, and I got this veggie burger that I'm about to eat. Right. But let's break down different ways to watch basketball. So many times when your athletes are watching the game, they're not necessarily watching the game. They're only watching the game from one perspective. And because they watch the game from one perspective, it kind of stifles their growth a little bit. And so here's what I mean. So I'm going to give you three different perspectives, right, as you hear the market bell going off right now, right? But as these are three perspectives that I want you to have your athlete really focus on when they're, watching NBA playoff games, watching their club games on the weekend, watching other teams play. I want you to have them start looking at the game and thinking about the game from these three perspectives, all right? So the first perspective, which all athletes are looking at the game. They're looking at the game from a player's perspective, right? And so they're looking at the game from a player's perspective, what they would do if they were in the game as a player. And most times the player's perspective, they're watching the basketball. One trouble that athletes can get in is by watching the basketball, right? Because if they're watching basketball, they don't have their eye on the rim. They don't have their eye on the man. They're just watching the basketball. That may be good when they're, let's say, playing defense on the ball. But what about when they're playing defense off the ball? Matter of fact, what happens now when they're on offense? Are they just watching the basketball or are they watching the play in the court, right? So I said it before, I'll say it again. The best way for your athlete to get open, right? To set a screen, that's the best way to get open, to set a screen. But then the ball finds the open man. The open man doesn't find the basketball. The ball finds the open man. So if they're just watching the ball, they're unable to really put themselves in a situation to where they can get open more frequently more effectively, and more efficiently. Does that make sense? They're watching the ball. It limits how often and how effective they're able to get open because the ball will find an open person. The open person doesn't find the ball. So the first perspective that most athletes, most basketball players are looking to watch the game is they're looking at it from a player's perspective, and that's just watching the basketball. The second perspective, and if I were you, I would have my player this evening, this weekend, as you're watching possibly the NBA playoffs, have them start watching the game from a coach's perspective. So the first perspective is the player's perspective, where they're just watching the ball. The second perspective is from a coach's perspective, right? Now, coaches are watching the intangibles, right? Coaches are watching everything, right? They're watching those little things that no one is paying attention to. Those 50-50 balls. If you got on the ground for a ball where it's help side, right? If the player ran off the court after they were subbed, if they ran to the scores table when it's time for them to sub, coaches are looking at a lot of different things. Even as a parent, I want you to start watching the game from a coach's perspective. And now, as a former head college basketball coach, I would get my wife, right? If there were times where she like, I can't watch the game with you because you're always watching it from a coach's perspective, right? And after a while, it just transferred over to her. Now she watched the games and she points out things, and I'll be like, "Oh, you saw that? Oh, you a coach's wife, right?" Even my kids, they point out things, and I'll be like, "Yep, y'all are coach's kids." But have them change from watching the game in the player's perspective to a coach's perspective, and watch how things shift for them. Watch how their mentality shift because now they're watching more than just the basketball. Oh, this person could have set a screen. Oh, they could have slipped that screen. Oh, it was a lot that they could have done because now they're just not watching the basketball. Does that make sense? Right? To my people on IG, does that if it makes sense, drop a one in the chat if it does make sense to you. Right? The same way over here, right? If it makes sense, drop a one in the chat. Y'all cheat me today. Y'all didn't let me know where y'all checking in from. Y'all didn't let me know where you watching the show from. Even if you catching this on the replay, I want you to let me know what city and state you're checking in from because we like to see where these broadcasts are going, who we're able to teach. So the first perspective is player's perspective. They're watching the ball. Second perspective is the coach's perspective. They're watching all the intangibles and watching the entire court, everything that's going on. The third perspective is an official's perspective. And coaches holler, rag on the officials, but they don't understand that in a regular basketball game, a three-person officiating crew, they have areas, right? So if you start watching the game from an official's perspective, understand that officials are watching different areas. One official is watching everything up top, that whole area. Another official is kind of watching everything along the baseline, that whole area. Then another official is watching kind of everything on the side, that whole area. So if you start watching things, right, have you ever saw, maybe an athlete has ever been in a game and everybody is looking over here, but the action is over here and somebody get elbowed or somebody get punched or something like that, tripped or somebody get hurt and everybody look like, what happened over here? Start watching the game from an official's perspective or standpoint. They're watching areas. So maybe the first couple minutes of the game, you're watching everything up top, right? You're watching what the offensive players are doing up top. You're watching what the defensive players are doing up top, right? And then maybe the next few minutes, you're watching along the sidelines. In the next few minutes, they're watching along the baselines just to see what things are going on. So again, there's three perspectives. Player's perspective, they're watching the ball. The coach's perspective, they're watching those intangibles. And then you have the official's perspective, they're watching areas, right? Now, there is a fourth and a fifth perspective that most people can watch basketball with. That's the fan's perspective, and that's the parent's perspective. Generally, the parent's perspective and the fan's perspective and the parent's perspective are similar. because oftentimes those are critical, right? Fans love it when they're doing great, and then they hate it and complain when it's not going great. Well, parents do the same thing. They love it when their athlete is playing great or they're getting on the court and they're playing, but then they hate it when their athlete is not playing or sitting on the bench, right? Or now it's the coach's fault or it's something. So parents and fans, they know two calls. Most parents and most fans know two calls. What are those two calls? Can anybody drop those two calls in the chat for me? What are the two calls that all parents and all coaches know? Come on now, I know y'all got to know this. What are two calls that all parents and all coaches know? And they're hollering them out all game. Okay, listen. I know y'all hear parents always screaming foul. Foul, that's a foul, that's a foul. That's the first call parents know. Foul. That's the first call fans know. Foul. What's the second call? Travel. Fans and parents know what a travel is, or they think they know, because everything is a travel. Oh, he traveled, ref. That's a travel. That's a travel. And they know about fouls. He traveled. He fouled. She fouled. She traveled. They're critical. Does that make sense? So I don't want you looking at the game, even my parents, I don't want you looking at the game from your perspective. As a parent, start looking at the game even from a player's perspective, not just a parent's perspective. But I want your athlete to start looking at the game from a player's perspective, a coach's perspective, as well as an official's perspective. And if they do that, they will find themselves learning a little bit more about the game and a little bit more about what they can do to be more effective, more efficient, and more consistent. More effective, more efficient, and more consistent if they do those three things. All right. So listen, that's all I got for y'all today. I'm about to get this lunch, call it a day. Again, if you have not, right, if you have a struggling athlete, particularly a guard, right? If you have a guard that's struggling to play better, if they're not playing their best, and you know that they need help in one of four areas: their confidence and or leadership, their IQ and or awareness, their exposure, and their recruitment, I want you to go check out my case study video at BeTheRightRecruit.com. And then I want you, if you're ready to get them help, then let's hop on the phone and let's see exactly what type of plan they need based on what issues or challenges they're having. Until you know the challenge that they're having, how can you get the solution? And what we do on our discovery calls is we really dig a little deeper to find out from the athlete, with you, the parent on the call, and your spouse, exactly what the real issue is from their perspective. Does that make sense? Because you may think it's one thing as the parent, but they know it's something totally different. And oftentimes they just aren't sharing it with you because they're probably scared to share it with you for whatever reason. But if you have a guard, right, that is looking to become an elite player and they're having issues with their confidence or their leadership, their IQ and or their awareness, their exposure, and their recruitment, I want you to reach out to me. Go check out that case study video, BeTheRightRecruit.com. And then let's hop on the phone. Let's see exactly how we can help. Now, we may not be able to help them. We aren't able to help everybody, and we don't work with everybody because everybody's just not a good fit for us. But if you are a good fit, if your athlete is a good fit and they're coachable, we should be able to help them. All right. So this is Coach Carvel Bailey. I hope that this helped. I hope you learned something from it. Feel free to drop your takeaways in the comments from this. And again, I will see you all Next time, y'all be good. Be safe. Peace.
Yo, just so you understand it, this is Coach Carvel Bailey's program with the spirit of Bob Hambry.
This is Blessed to Ball, helping athletes, and we represent. Study your craft, your mentality leads to excellence. It's all about your mindset. We'll never stop addressing this, so be positive and not a pessimist. Confidence took James Harden higher. If you really want it, it ain't gonna be easy. It's gonna be hard as carbon fiber, but we got you. From counseling to workshops, we do it. You'll go farther with a scholarship. We'll help you get recruited. Yo, anyone can dribble and shoot, but it's the ones who study basketball internally that make it to Duke University. Knowledge goes around. The game is played from the neck up and not from the shoulders down. This is Blessed to Ball, helping you with obstacles. The athletes are the rocket. Blessed to Ball is the rocket fuel. If you hit a wall, we can help you slowly climb it. So keep a Mamba mentality like Kobe Bryant.
Blessed to Ball.
Cherish the opportunities that you have.
Blessed to Ball.
Use your mentality to master the craft.
Blessed to Ball.
Come join our team, it's a new day. Follow our steps and watch how much better you play.
Blessed to Ball.
Cherish the opportunities that you have.
Blessed to Ball.
Use your mentality to master the craft.
Blessed to Ball.
Come join our team, it's a new day. Follow our steps and watch how much better you play. Yo, Coach Carvel Bailey. Hey, listen to your coach, man. He ain't no scrub off the street. That man got credentials, academic and street. Believe it, and my name is strategic.